finished probably around about 20 minutes ago. I had an old iPhone 10 lying about, so I'm installing iOS 16 on that. I did have a quick check to see about installing tvOS on this Apple TV. So the way that you actually do it is you go to settings. Let me just come out of this, and what you want to do is you go to general, in settings, you come down to privacy, and you come down to share Apple TV analytics, and on the remote, rather than hitting an OK or the actual clicker, what you do is you hit the play pause button. So you hit that, and then it gives you the option to add profile. And then what you can do is download the actual profile from one of the beta sites, and I can add that to the list in the description or something at a later date, or I'm sure most of you can probably find that. It's literally just betaprofiles.com, I think it is. But yeah, I didn't want to install this on my primary phone simply because I did do that in the past. And the two things I found was, firstly, battery life was really, really bad on pretty much all of them. And secondly, a lot of these sort of core apps, messages, phone, things like that, a lot of those would break. They wouldn't have all the functions actually fully enabled, as well as the fact that a lot of third-party apps wouldn't actually work either. So for that reason, obviously, right now what I'm going to do is install it on this sort of spare device, just to give me an idea in terms of what it's like. A lot of it is just cosmetic. There are quite a few new features. HomeKit was obviously the main one that I wanted to look at, and obviously tvOS as well, but they didn't even mention tvOS. It didn't even come up. And even when it came to HomeKit, there was only minimal settings that they did actually show in terms of the iPhone. They didn't show, I don't think they showed anything for the iPad, and they definitely didn't show anything for tvOS in terms of HomeKit support. And tvOS is obviously one of the main things because, after all, it all works off the Apple TV as a sort of home hub. So I would have hoped that they would have actually shown something with regards to actually what sort of improvements they're looking at making for that. Let me just take this back to a better background. It would help if the remote was the right way around. But yeah, so the keynote was obviously just finished. Wasn't Yeah, there's a lot to digest when it comes to the keynote. With regards to the iPhone section, obviously, once we actually delve into it, once we get it installed and have a little play about with it, then we'll know how much of a difference it actually makes. I think the widgets on the home screen, or the lock screen rather, it'll probably alleviate one of the biggest concerns people have, which is the battery percentage. Obviously, if you can have your widgets right there, and I'm pretty sure they did showcase the battery widgets as well, then obviously that straight away gets rid of the need for that battery percentage in the top right. They didn't mention anything about always on display, which is a rumor for iPhone 14. So we'll have to wait and see whether that is something that is baked in, but hasn't quite. Basically, they just don't want to mention it yet. Keep it hidden for once the 14 actually releases. But from what they mentioned, obviously it was very feature packed in terms of the event. Mac obviously had quite a bit of focus. Wasn't really expecting the hardware. There were murmurings about possible hardware coming, but nobody really definitively said, yeah, it's definitely coming. And even when they did show the new MacBook Airs, how do you install the beta now? So what you want to do is go to betaprofiles.com, I believe it is, and you'll be able to download the beta profile sort of token from there. You install a profile. Once you've installed the profile, you then go back in, well, it asks you to restart the phone. You restart the phone. Once you go to settings, it'll then give you the option. Now, please bear in mind, don't run this on your primary phones. Don't make that mistake. I know everybody's eager to try and get it as soon as possible, but trust me, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be installing this on a primary device because it will be buggy. I can guarantee you that much. It'll run like crap, and yeah, you just don't want that as your primary device. If you've got something like this where you've just got an old phone lying about, I believe it works on anything newer than iPhone 8. So if you've got any device newer than iPhone 8, then you can go ahead and install that. Just have a play about with it. But I wouldn't really recommend anybody install this until you actually get to public betas. That 1 month between developer beta and public beta, there is a big difference. I've done it in the past, just about, I'd say probably around the last 5-6 years. And for each of those years, the difference between one of the developer betas and the first public beta, there was a big difference in terms of reliability. iOS 15 in particular, but because obviously a lot of these previous sort of iOS updates, they've been incremental. There hasn't really been a big core change, and because of that, it has meant that the general sort of usability of it isn't too bad. But when it comes to certain apps, any of your own third-party apps that you use, any I'm trying to think of what banking apps, primary ones. So if you use banking apps, none of those, I can almost guarantee that most of those will break. Anything that logs in using any type of secondary authentication, those kind of apps will always fail. And obviously it comes down to your usability, whether that's something that you can live with, or whether obviously in my case, obviously this is a secondary device, so it doesn't really matter too much whether things break on it, because I don't actually have anything installed on this. I literally just have this as a test device, and that's all I was using it for. But yeah, if I wouldn't recommend that you install this on your primary device. If you do have any secondary devices, go ahead, have a play about with it. I'll show you the website just now. So you come to, if you'll actually load, yeah, so there, betaprofiles.com. And if you go back to the main page, it'll actually give you the options for iPhone, iPad, tvOS, watchOS. And obviously you can go ahead and install the profiles. The tvOS one at the moment wasn't actually working. It wouldn't actually access that site. So obviously right now there's probably too much load on it. Similarly to this has actually been going for the best part of maybe 15 minutes now. And yeah, I know it's an iPhone 10 and it's not going to be the fastest, but even still, this is taking quite long. I do actually need to plug this in because this phone hasn't been switched on for the best part of probably about a month and a half. So battery isn't the best at the moment, so I will plug this in. But I just wanted to do a quick live stream on it, just to give you my my thoughts in terms of what we've seen with the actual keynote. Any questions anybody has, drop them and I'll do my best to answer them. What I was thinking was basically just play this back and actually could have just done a quick keynote summary that way, but yeah, don't want to get any copyright strikes from Apple. I've had that in the past, so it's not something that I want to deal with again. Yeah, this is getting towards the end, so it's almost there now. Yeah, once again, anybody out there that's obviously clicking onto this particular stream, don't install this on your main device. Good question. So I did take a screenshot. Yeah, so 4.8 gigs is the actual file size. All right, that comment just kind of disappeared. Let me just try and bring that back up again. But yeah, I'm gonna need to plug this in, so I'll end this live stream. I might just restart another one if you do have any questions, and once this is installed, I'll bring it back and we can have a little play about with it, and you can ask me your questions then. So yeah, I'll end this now just so they can get this plugged in. I don't actually have anywhere set up in this room, obviously, because of my new media room. I don't actually have any cables set up anywhere that I can use for charging this. I've got that in the other room, so I'll go plug this in. In fact, what you can do, you can stay here for now. Okay. Yes, so whilst that's kind of downloading, once again, I'll just give you guys a quick tutorial again for tvOS. So if you did want to do the tvOS update, what you want to do is come across to settings, just back out of this, you go to general, you go to privacy, you go down to this one, share Apple TV analytics, and you don't need to click this on or off or anything like that. All you do is on the Apple TV remote, I'll show you, you hit play pause. That then brings up a add profile. You click on add profile, and then it basically gives you, please do drop test after this. Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect that. Right, what questions have you got? So top one I've answered. Magenta, hi, yes, hi back. Is it over 3 gig? Yeah, it was 4.8 gig. Drop test, that's not happening. And yeah, that's all of the comments so far. Yeah, so what you want to do is obviously paste in the link that is on betaprofiles.com, I think it is, betaprofiles.com. You paste it into there and you hit done. Now, when I was actually trying it earlier on, it wouldn't allow me to hit done because I'm guessing the site's overloaded. So that's something that obviously if you did want to try it out, then you can go ahead and do that. Vligo, I'm installing it on my main phone. Oops, I don't know if that's, yeah, that's not smart. I would not recommend that. The two main things that you're probably going to experience if you do install it on your main device is really bad battery life, and a lot of these sort of apps aren't going to authenticate. You'll find that you'll probably have a lot of crashes. Now, one thing I will say is that basically because since iOS, 12, 13, all of them have basically had the same architecture. So it's been pretty much the same thing all the way since then. So I don't think it's going to be a massive difference in terms of nothing working, as it did from, what was it, iOS 11 to 12 or something, was it? Or from 6 to 7. That was a big change, and that was obviously a lot of UI and a lot of changes that actually came about. Since then, it's always been little incremental updates every year. And last year in particular, what I did find was that as soon as you got to maybe beta 2, beta 3, in particular on the tvOS ones were much faster in terms of actually catching up. And then after that point, it was pretty good. I'm not going to change Apple Pay or some will it. I very much doubt something like Apple Pay would actually work if you updated it. I never actually tested it previously, because the devices that I tested it on, I did do it on my daily once, and the battery life just drove me insane. So basically, I just downgraded again. I think that was on 14 to 15, so I went back from 15 down to 14 again. But luckily, by the time I did do that, the next public beta had actually released, and by that time it was actually fine. So once it gets to a certain public beta, at that stage, yeah, I would probably say it's fine. But with this sort of developer beta, I would not recommend it really. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to end this live stream now, and I'll be back. Just is battery life the only major problem? Battery life as well as compatibility. So a lot of apps don't work. You end up with a lot of crashes. Obviously heat from the phone itself. So obviously it's doing stuff in the background that normally it's not doing. From what I can remember, there was certain things that didn't work for me. A lot of HomeKit compatibility issues. That's the kind of thing that caused me problems because HomeKit was such a big part of it. But I wouldn't necessarily say it was unusable. So for somebody out there that literally just wants to have a play about with it for a couple of days, I'm sure you can make do. But it's not going to be nice in terms of having to restore everything and go back, because as with all of these things, once you get the new features, you never want to go back to the old ones, do you? So in a way, you're actually better off not experiencing it until it's actually fully baked in and ready for a public release, rather than doing it this way. But yeah, I'm going to end this now, and I'll be back in a little bit and just give you guys a quick sneak peek.